Over my life, I've noticed that death is one of the most taboo yet most talked about topics I've ever come across. And I think the reason is no matter how rich, powerful, or untouchable people may think they are, it's the only thing that is guaranteed for us in this life. So it had me raise the question, how come if it's the only thing we know for sure is going to happen, so many of us are afraid of the inevitable? I do a lot of work in rehab centers where I help guys go back through their lives to be able to look at things that they've done, things people have done to them, and their fears, and help them take accountability over those things so that way they can get a grip and go back in and live their lives. And one fear that everybody has is, of course, death. And after working over 2 years in these rehab centers, I've discovered three main perspectives on death that keep people in constant fear of it instead of accepting it and moving on with their lives. And I'm confident if you can shift your perspective on these three things that you don't even realize you're doing, you will no longer fear death. Instead, you will accept it and start embracing life. Let's get right into it. The first thing that I've noticed about death that people tend to do without even realizing it is they make it all about themselves. And when I tell this to most people, they get pissed off and they say, how am I making it about myself? Give me a second. I'm going to share with you a couple of the thoughts that I hear run through my head and a lot of people that I've talked to about it. See if you've had any variation of these. Especially when it comes to the passing of like a real close family member that's directly affecting you. Mom, dad, sister, grandparents. Oh my God, how am I gonna handle that? Oh my God, if they pass away, what am I gonna do? If I lost that person, how would I handle that? If this person suddenly passes away, who's gonna take care of the bills? Now, I realize that most of you guys aren't saying these things word for word in your head, but realistically, most of us turn to how we're going to feel and how we're going to be affected when somebody else passes away. And that's because of the fear of the uncertainty of what's to come after that. And when you think about it, of course you're spiraling into fear when you're making somebody else's passing all about you. So the suggestion I give to the guys that I talk to at the rehab center is to turn their attention towards everybody else involved when it comes to something like that. Don't make it all about you. How can I be of service and how can I help somebody else who's dealing with the same thing that I'm dealing with? Now, I'm not saying that you don't deserve to feel and you don't deserve to sit in those emotions for a little bit and process, but I'm saying don't live in them. Feel it, understand that it's happening and it's gonna be okay, but immediately turn to perhaps your sibling, perhaps to your other parent involved, perhaps to your other grandparent involved. I don't know, whoever else is dealing with this, and see how you can make it easier for them. I guarantee you, once you get out of your own head about how you're going to be affected, you'll feel so much better making sure that everybody else is doing okay. Now, the second perspective I noticed with the guys that I talk to about death that makes them fear death, almost even get angry about death rather than acknowledge it and keep their lives pushing, is the fact that they feel like they own that person in their life. Now, don't get me wrong, that is your mom, your sister, your dad, your grandma, but that doesn't mean you own them. Here's what I mean by this. Not too long ago, I had an insane fear about someone breaking into my house and harming my mom and my little sister. So I would go to great lengths to always be at the house every night to make sure I'm there to protect them. Now, to some people, they may think that's sweet and oh, you're big brother and you're the oldest son, only son, and that's something that you should do. But let me tell you something, that's not a way to live your life. As if I can control what happens at all times because they're mine and it's my responsibility to do it. Listen, people, you have a life to live, a life that doesn't involve trying to control the outcome of what happens to that person. Now, you can take precautions. I tried to show my mom how to use a home defense weapon. She refused. Guess what? There's not much else I can do than that. We installed an alarm system, alarms in place, super loud. It's there to call 911 whenever somebody breaks in. But I can't sit there and try to always be there to make sure that they're gonna be okay. Because that's my mom and that's my little sister and nothing's gonna happen to them as long as I'm on this earth. Well, guess what? I'm home every night. I'm missing opportunities to go out to meet people and create a network and actually create my own life instead of trying to control what happens in this life that I think is mine. And let me tell you something, folks, this isn't religious. None of this stuff is ours. It doesn't matter if you think it's yours, if you've bought it, it's all going back to the earth someday, one way or another. So stop acting like you own anything, even yourself. You don't even own yourself. Can you believe it? You're not yours, your mom's not yours, your car's not yours, your dog's not yours. So stop acting like you own it. The sooner you can accept this mindset, do your part, show that person how they can maybe help themselves, and then just let go. Whatever happens, happens. Because whether you're there or not, you couldn't control it anyway. You guys are gonna like this third thing because guess what? It's gonna be the only thing that you actually have control over. And the third thing I found people having such a huge fear of death over is the fact that you don't actually embrace that person or thing as much as you should at this time. So for about a decade of my life, starting from the age of 14 till I was about 24, I had a gut-wrenching fear of my dad passing away. Come to find out, the reason I had this gut-wrenching fear was because I almost never spent time with my dad. Now granted, he was out of the country from the time I was 14 to the time I was 20, but he came back when I was 21, and I was so resentful at the time that we had already missed. I was already used to not ever hanging out with him or seeing him. It just became normal. But inside, every day I didn't see him, and I'd go weeks, sometimes months, without seeing my dad. It fucking killed me. It killed me. And I know that I had control over it, but I wanted to make excuses like, well, he doesn't call me every day to see me, and he doesn't make the effort to come see me, so why should I make the effort to go see him? Such bullshit. Just bullshit. Complete and utter crap, bro. I have complete control to go see my dad, and I didn't make that choice. So the fact that I wasn't embracing my dad, and this applied to my mom and my sisters too, but it was really bad with him because I didn't see him for a long time. Not that he wasn't present, but he wasn't present physically because of his job. But now, over the past 2 years, as I've sobered up, I've begun to see my dad at least 2 to 3 times a week. And not only have I begun to see him 2 to 3 times a week, I call him almost every day. And it went from a point to where I almost never saw him and he never called me and I never called him. Now when I don't call him, he calls me and he's like, hey, where are you? Like, are you okay? I created that relationship because I wanted it. If something were to happen to my dad, I would not have any regrets. I wouldn't say, I wish I would have called him more. I wish I would have spent time with him more. I wish I would have said I love you more, because I'm doing it. I'm doing it now, and you can too. You don't have to wait for something terrible and tragic to happen for you to regret the fact that you didn't embrace that person. That is one of the only things we have control over, and that is one of the only things that you can do to make sure you don't fear death all the time. Take action now. Take action to say I love you more to that person. Take action to spend more time with your family and friends, and take action to be in the moment where you're supposed to be. I have no doubt if you start making these perspective shifts, you don't control anything, you don't own anyone. Fuck, what was the first point I made? Make sure you go back through, write all 3 of the points down, and actually start working on them. Look, it takes active effort to start changing these perspective on these things, but I guarantee you, I will pay you money. If you start doing these things, your fear of death will disappear. You can actually start embracing life and actually see death as the good thing it is. Because as you've heard before, I'm sure, without death, there is no life. It is a privilege to be able to live this life and then come to an end, if you're actually in life, living it in the moment.